Well, hello colleagues, and welcome to the webinar summary of the Hair and Beauty PEN 2, Professional Exchange Network 2 for Hampshire, for the meeting for Hair and Beauty colleagues, which took place on Wednesday the 14th of June at Fareham. We started off the meeting by having a look at some recent Ofsted reports. I'd collated the comments out of reports between February and May and summarised those. Issued the summary sheet, and then we sat there and looked at them, and people related them to their own discipline and their own area within their own college. And this time particularly we decided we concentrate on governance and leadership, and this led into some interesting exchanges on how governors are used or how governors are deployed in colleges, whether they have a good grasp of what goes on in curriculum areas, whether they don't, whether they champion those curriculum areas, whether they also apply pressure to the heads of areas to improve the outcomes of teaching and learning. And I'm going to give you a quote out of one of the reports we looked at. Governors communicate well with senior leaders and managers. Governors have strong links with the faculties, which gives them a good understanding of college curricula. And we had a discussion based around that, what role do governors play and how well do they understand what they're doing. The other side of the coin was when we took a comment which said, governors do not challenge senior leaders sufficiently to improve outcomes for students and ensure they achieve their full potential. They don't receive sufficient detail about the progress that students make within the year or the strengths and weaknesses of teaching and learning and assessment to enable them to challenge leaders robustly and improve quality. So there were the two sides of the coin really, and everything in between. And that occupied quite a good time in the meeting, with people exchanging information and their experience on the use of governance in colleges. We moved on to talk about the OTLA, the Outstanding Teaching, Learning and Assessment projects, which are currently being delivered both in Hampshire and in Sussex. The first was we looked at was digital badging, which is being delivered by Eastleigh College and is a way of awarding students a digital credit for each part of a unit that they get. It's actually targeted at employability skills and functional skills, and it breaks achievement down into easily achievable tasks and rewards the student. The other thing is the student can append to their electronic file video clips and evidence of them achieving standards in whatever, so they can take it along to interview as an electronic CV. Plumpton College, under the same project heading of Outstanding Teaching and Learning, is delivering on blended learning. Then at Greater Brighton Met they have Google Apps, which is a project that is bringing Google Apps into the classroom. And finally at South Downs, the use of video clips to improve teaching and learning. Now all of those projects will be fed back into PEN groups next year, partly as part of the dissemination of the project and partly because it does overlap onto teaching and learning. From there, the meeting, I'll just move the minutes down the screen, the meeting moved on to changes in apprenticeships, and there was a discussion regarding the changeover from frameworks to standards, who was doing what, and what plans had been laid to move over to the standards. So members discussed the progress towards this and the release of standards for level 3 hair and beauty, it was noted that in terms of the hair and beauty ones, appropriate qualification was part of the standard. Moving on to item 6, my favourite topic heading of what keeps you awake at night, the whole of further education, said somebody in this meeting. But there was a good discussion and points were exchanged on various things, including changes from using City and Guilds to VTCT, due to different examination modes and support and resources. The changes in teaching methodologies to prepare learners for exams rather than for continual assessment. And one college was very interestingly telling us how they had to put 72 hours of the course learning online and the difficulties that that had given them, and the plus side that it had given them as well. And you can see the list in front of you on the screen. We had a discussion about timetabling slots of maths and English, trying to sandwich it between practical sessions and not devote the whole of Wednesday afternoon, or heaven forbid Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock to maths. Coming out of that was the point that one of the keys to successes is ensuring the attendance of students and having a sort of very vigorous reinforcement policy, rushing around the college, finding them, getting them into class, instant texting if they're not there, texting of mum and dad, etc., etc. So on to any other business. The first is we learnt that Vicky, who's been head of hair and beauty, and another faculty as well, which escapes me, I think it's art, at Fareham, is moving on to start her own business, so we wish her well. We talked of the inspection of colleges and the inspection of study programs rather than inspection of curriculum areas, so that would be going back to the changes of the CIF prior to this current one being introduced, or at the introduction of this current one. And finally, there was a discussion about the monitoring of attendance of students, RAG rating them, and instant follow-up, assisted ably by eTracker. I raised the question at the very end, do you want more face-to-face meetings? Would you be happy with webinar meetings? What do you want? And the answer was actually face-to-face was preferred. So that's our expected option for next year. So that's the summary of the Hair and Beauty Pen 2 network meeting, which took place on June the 14th, earlier this term. Thank you.